Hey there guys, it's Mahanach, okay. What's up guys, Syiler here. And we are stealing Metro's idea. We're going to be doing a dungeon as Windwalker Monk, and I'm going to be talking about some things in this dungeon while we do some deeps. Now, you know Metro, you've probably seen his videos, he does a lot of tanking. He's also a big fan of healers, but he doesn't really cover DPS classes. And I am more of a DPS guy. I like to do the damage. So, in this video, I wanted to talk about Windwalker Monk, how I'm finding it so far, give you guys a good example of how much damage we're doing right now, and also, now I'm not perfect at playing it yet, so keep that in mind. I am making mistakes rotation-wise, but I've nearly got the hang of it. I also want to talk about, I am doing this live, I think Metro does his pre-recorded as well, so give me that. Give me that. I have to think a little bit about what I'm doing while talking. So I also want to talk about DPS utility. I think it's a pretty big topic. Now, whether it's important or not is up to you, but I think it's a pretty big topic to talk about as well. So in terms of Windwalker Monk, I think they're pretty damn strong right now. There's not really been that many. Like, I'm struggling to see them in raid testing and stuff like that, so I can get a better example of how good they are. But they seem to be doing alright. I'm currently 810, and I have garbage trinkets. This is a heroic dungeon, so everyone in here is going to be about 810 at least. Some of them will be higher, some of them will be lower. We'll take a look at some of the gear a little bit later on, so you can see how I'm doing in comparison. And yeah, in terms of Windwalker, the main changes. First of all, the mastery has changed. It's now like a hit combo, so if you don't use the same spell twice in a row, you gain additional damage on your next spell. So for example, if I was to do Tiger Palm and then Blackout Kick, my Blackout Kick will do 20% extra damage, and the mastery scales that damage that it does. And if you do 2 Tiger Palms in a row, for example, though, your second Tiger Palm won't have that increased damage on it. So it's all about, using a unique spell each time. So you do need to have a little bit of planning around that. The buffs that Windwalker used to give on its spells, like the Armor Pen, the increased damage, and the dot, they've all been removed. They are gone. Touch of Death is now a burst cooldown. You basically use it, and after a few seconds, as you'll see here, it'll do a huge burst of damage. As you can see, top of the charts, what I like to see. And so is Storm Earth and Fire. It's now a DPS cooldown for single target or AoE. So you can see I'm using it here. And basically what it does is it gives us 150% damage for like 60 seconds? No, 60 seconds, like 15 seconds. And the cool thing about it is your clones will use your artifact weapon as well. So you can get some really nice damage off. You can, use Storm Earth and Fire, you can use your artifact weapon and then Fist of Fury, and you're going to be getting a huge amount of burst. But this monk is, sorry, not this monk. This rogue? There we go, we got there eventually. He's doing quite a lot of damage as well. We're struggling to keep up with him. So we'll see after this how much damage he's actually doing. So, Tiger Palm, jab is now gone as well. Tiger Palm is your kind of jab type spell, which I'm happy with. Obviously I don't really play much Windwalker on live, an enhanced shaman, but I do like the change. It just feels better. Like, jab felt like a useless spell. It did pretty much no damage. It was there literally just to generate resource. It was just an extra button that felt clunky in my opinion. So that's now gone, and instead Tiger Palm generates 2 chi, costs 50 energy, and has no cooldown, and we got an upgrade. Lovely. I'll take it. So that is about it in terms of Monk's changes. For the most part, there's quite a few changes still. The defensive cooldowns are mostly gone as well. You have a heal, you have Touch of Karma still, and that is about it. This 15% heal is a talent, and you get 2 charges, so you can get 30% instant health from it, and you can get more health every 30 seconds. You also have the tier where you can pick up like Chi Burst or Chi Wave, or you have this Eye of the Tiger, which makes your Tiger Palm also do healing and damage over time as well. But yeah, that's about it in terms of defensive. So you're a little bit more vulnerable. You don't have something you can press when you know there's going to be big damage output. You can put Karma up, but obviously Karma's quite a long cooldown, so it's... yeah, I guess it's about the same as a normal defensive. So you could use Karma as a defensive, and when you know a big kind of like damage phase is coming, if that's an option at least. You also have... what else do we have here? Oh, the artifact weapon. Your artifact weapon is a 40-second cooldown, costs 2 chi, and strikes with both fists, dealing 450k damage and reducing movement speed. It is an AoE as well, so if you have a big pack of mobs, you use your Storm, Earth, and Fire, and you use the artifact weapon. All three, like you and the other 2 clones, will all use the artifact weapon, which is going to give you a huge amount of burst, like AoE damage. It's very, very nice. And they've also changed the way spinning crane kick works. Now, you probably won't see me use it very much in this dungeon, just because I'm not really sure how I'm meant to use it efficiently. So, by default, it does pretty much no damage. It costs 3 chi. It lasts for 1.5 seconds. I would get stunned when I'm using Fist of Fury. But every time you hit a unique target with Tiger Palm, Blackout Kick, or Rising Sun Kick, it'll add a stack to it, increasing its damage by 50%. And it can go up to 10 times. So it's kind of hard because of, you know, your resource. You can't really tab and use all those 3 spells on every mob to get the 10 stacks alone. It's really difficult to do. But one thing you can do is use Storm, Earth, and Fire, and then use those 3 spells, and you'll have, you know, close to 10 stacks. And then you'll have a really big spinning crane kick. But it's just kind of like a, you know, it only lasts for 1.5 seconds, so it's just kind of like a burst tick of AoE damage. So I'm finding that really difficult to use, to be honest. I have picked up the talent Russian Jade Wind, as I just kind of like it. It fills out the rotation. It helps make, you know, it helps on AoE, and it gives you something else to press to keep the combo breaker thing going. So yeah, I like it. I just pressed the wrong button. So that is kind of a look at Monk. You'll see, obviously, you're going to continue to see the Monk gameplay as we go through the dungeon, but that's, for the most part, kind of what's going on with Monk. I think those are like the main changes, at least. Tiger's Eye Brew is gone as well, so your burst damage now comes from... and your burst is a lot more reliant now as well. You can actually do it at the start of the fight, but your burst damage comes from Touch of Death and using Storm, Earth, and Fire and the artifact weapon properly. That'll be where most of your burst damage will actually, you know, come from. So, the thing I wanted to talk about in this video is DPS utility. Now, this is something I was quite concerned with coming into Legion, is that most DPS specs have lost pretty much all of their utility, the things that they bring to raids that, you know, you bring them for, the big kind of impacting cooldowns. And they've changed it in Legion to where every class brings maybe 2 things, and that'll be about it. For example, Windwalker's utility cooldown isn't really a cooldown, they just give 10% movement speed in a kind of short radius, which is nice if you're trying to get from A to B a little bit faster, but it isn't crazy. Feral Druid gives the Raw, the Stampede in Raw, which is obviously the AoE movement speed for the raid, and they give Rebirth. Boomkin gives what's it called, the mana regen thing, the name's escaping me. Innovate. They give Innovate and Rebirth. Warlock gives Hellstones and Soulstone. Mage gives Time Warp. Enhanced Shaman gives Bloodlust and Stormlash. So each thing brings 1 to 2 things. Most of the DPS, like pure DPS specs, really only bring 1 thing. But yeah, so that's how it's looking going into Legion. Your DPS won't really bring a whole lot outside of damage. I mean, as long as you have a fairly balanced raid team, you should have 1 of everything. So that could potentially cause an issue in the fact that Blizzard like to say, you know, bring the player, not the class, and that's kind of what they're going for again in Legion. But will that be the case? Like, if all the DPS specs aren't close together, you're gonna get people like preferring to bring the highest damaging thing, you know? And then we might get this weird issue, if you've been keeping up with Metro's videos, we might get this weird issue where people actually bring tanks, like a 3rd or 4th tank, because tanks actually bring big raid cooldowns now, while, you know, DPS don't. And tanks are doing a good amount of damage. So you could literally just bring like a 3rd or 4th tank that's there just to do, you know, middle of the meter damage. It's still doing enough to contribute, and is bringing this huge cooldown that's going to help, you know, when you really need it. So, not too sure how I feel about that. It's one thing that's kind of drove me away from playing Enhance this expansion, because Enhance has probably lost the most things compared to any other spec or class, you know. People are complaining about the squish, and I think not the squish, the ability pruning, and I think most of it is unfair. Like, there's not really that much been lost from most specs, but there are some specs that have lost a lot more than others. For example, let me go for Enhance. Enhance Shaman has lost Fire Elemental, Earth Elemental. It's lost Healing Stream Totem. It's lost Grounding Totem. It's lost Searing Totem, Magma Totem, Capacitated Totem, which is now a talent, but you know, it's still essentially gone. It's lost Earthbind Totem. Basically every totem is gone from Enhance. It's also lost Shamanistic Rage. I just cancelled my Fist of Fury because I'm a god. So it's lost a fair amount of spells. I mean, those alone, there's probably more that I can't think of. But those alone, that's like 10 spells that are just like gone. So Enhance lost a lot of its kind of its feeling of like impact, like that you've got more than one option in a fight. I don't know how to explain that properly. It's a lot of people seem confused when I say that, but I liked Enhance before because you had a lot of options in the way you could play a fight or play, you know, if you were soloing content, you had a lot of different things in your kit that you could make use of. While now it's a lot more straightforward of a kit. You literally just have A and B. Oh, whoops. You literally just have A. You don't have any other real option of playing the class. So that I'm not really a fan of, and it's kind of what's pushed me away from Enhance. The other thing that pushed me away from Enhance was... Have these guys gone this way? Oh, they must have. The other thing that pushed me away from Enhance was the Fury, the Rage type system that they've implemented, but that's another story for another day. This video is about Windwalker. So that is my current concern with the DPS thing, is that if you have no reason to bring certain classes, you're just going to bring what does the most damage. If you know, not every guild is in that kind of position where they care. But the higher end guilds, they're literally now just going to be able to stack a lot easier. Because previously the thing that was stopping them from stacking was the fact that, okay, we need, you know, a couple of shamans, we need a mage, we need, you know, we need a rogue for smoke bomb. But they don't need those things anymore. So whatever's good, that'll be what they want more of. And they can get away with doing that, basically. So it's a little bit of a concern. It's probably not that much of a concern for most people because a lot of people didn't actually use the utility spells on the DPS classes. But for me, that was one thing that really pulled me towards Enhance and Ret Paladin, was the fact that I did more than just DPS. You know, like for example, Mr. Pandaria and Enhance Shaman was my favorite period to play Enhance, because if I played it well enough, I could be doing high damage and also impacting the healing meters. I could do half of what a healer was doing, which is a lot of healing. And that felt good to me because it meant if I wasn't always, you know, top on a fight, at least I was contributing to the fight in some way. I was adding more worth to the fight, you know? So that is currently my kind of like concern. It isn't that big of a concern, and as I said, it won't affect that many people, but it's something I liked. It was kind of my style of play. I like to be more of like a utility DPS rather than just a pure DPS. That's why I've always played things that are hybrid. You know, I've mained Ret Paladin for ages and Enhanced Shaman for ages, just because of what they actually brought. So that's my little rant. And also, if you don't know what the orbs flying around me are, that's the new level 100 talent. That's called Chi Orbit. It's pretty damn strong. Every 5 seconds an orbital spawn does 71k AoE damage, and you get 4 of them can spawn at once, so like if you're out of combat for a few seconds you'll get 4 total. It bugs out sometimes and they all kind of are sat on top of each other and won't proc for some reason. I don't know why my chi orbit is not proccing. Maybe it is, we just can't tell. No, it's broke. Well, that's cool. So I'm missing out on a bit of damage there. That is a bug report if I've ever seen one. So like here would have been a really nice time to use my Storm Earth and Fire, because I could have done that, used my artifact weapon, and been doing a lot of goddamn damage. Let's see how much the spinning crane kick did. See, that was with 3 stacks, it 22% of my damage. It isn't, you know, bad. It just isn't anything kind of crazy. It's a hard spell to use. I'm not really sure when and how I should be using it properly at the moment is my kind of biggest issue with the spell. Now that's not the spell's fault, that's me, you know, just being bad, but yeah, it's a weird spell to get used to. It's kind of like enhances Fire Nova type thing where you'd spread the Flame Shark, you know, you had to set up your AoE before you could use it, except this feels a bit more, I don't like using the word clunky, but it essentially feels a bit clunky. But people generally just use clunky because they don't understand it. Oh, you son of a gun. But overall, I'm enjoying Windwalker. I'm enjoying Monk a lot. I definitely think I'm going to be playing Monk in Legion. Not really a fan of Enhance anymore. A lot of people like the new Rage-based Enhance, but for me, it's not for me. So I think I'm going to be mainly playing Monk for Legion, as I quite like Brewmaster, I quite like Mistweaver. I haven't played much of Legion Mistweaver, but I liked Mistweaver previously at least. So hopefully that continues, and I also like the current Mistweaver, although it's more of like a generic healer. I quite liked it before because you could kind of sit in melee range and do DPS and stuff. I don't know if that's the case. As previously it counted as a melee DPS, so you could just sit in melee and ignore the range mechanics. I don't know if that is actually the case anymore. Damn, no loot again. Feels bad. So let's take a look at this rogue. Let's see how well geared they are, because they're kicking my ass a little bit. They're more geared than I am. 809. Oh, damn. And he's been a cool guy. Thanks. Or maybe you seen that I was inspecting him, although I wasn't inspecting him to guilt trip him. I was just inspecting him to see what was going on, so just give us an upgrade. Crit Mastery. I think the best stats for Windwalker are gonna be Mastery Haste, although don't quote me on that. The only reason is that obviously the haste gives you, the mastery gives you flat damage, pretty much, and the haste reduces the cool. Oh, damn. Where'd this guy go? Damn, double things. Look at this guy. What a bro. All right, cool. So we got a neck enchant as well, which should help. He got that from the raid test, and it basically, I don't know what the Fallen Sentinels one does, but they all like have a weird kind of proc on them. There's someone like an ad that'll help you or whatever. So that'll be a nice little bit of damage too. So he was about 830 eye level, I'd say. So he's got a good 15-20 eye level on us, and we're keeping up with him. He's beating us for the most part, but we're keeping up. So I don't think Windwalker's too bad, although obviously this is a dungeon setting, and this is lower eye level. It'll all depend on how they scale, how well they do in raids, all that type of stuff. Damn it, everyone's going ham. What the fuck's going on? Okay, I think that was just a misclick. Feels bad. Got my hopes up. As you can see, that was without Storm, Earth, and Fire. And I did like a huge amount of burst AoE. So if you can use, you know, if you can get away with using your Storm, Earth, and Fire for AoE as well, then you're going to be able to get the Artifact proc, which will do AoE, Fist of Fury, which can do AoE. They're all going to be doing Rush and Jade Wind, and then you can stack up the 10 stacks of Spinning Crane Kick and do that as well. So yeah, the AoE potential is very, very nice. And then obviously this... Oh. Why does it keep trading him? Oh. Thanks. Damn. I love you guys. Looking... I'm being spoiled. I don't know why. I don't think any of these people know me. Like, these are all randoms, but... They're just giving me all this stuff. I'm not gonna complain. I will take it. Because the more gear I get means I can start doing some mythics as well. We're just padding. That is a Holy Paladin, right? Yeah, he is doing a lot of damage. And the other guy who's confused is like, what is this monk on about? What's going on? Why does he love us? So we have Artifact Weapon back up. So let's go ahead and summon our Storm, Earth, and Fire. Oh, no. Although it's not like I actually used anything. Oh, forgot this is like a Megalovania. It's like Sans fight. God, if for anyone who's played Undertale, if they actually included the Sans fight stuff into this game, like the same speed, oh my god, everyone would just die. It'd be impossible. We might get another Storm, Earth, and Fire up here as well. We're close. Should be a nice little bit of extra damage. If I had good trinkets, I think I'd be doing a lot of damage too. I'll show you my trinkets once we're done with here. My trinkets are very, very bad. Let's see what we got. And those guys trading me gear is the new kind of like the loot system. Well, actually, we're in dungeons, so it doesn't mean too much. But if you get a piece of gear, even in raids, that is no good to you, like it's lower eye level than what you already have. Those guys. Then you can trade it to someone else in the raid. So that's pretty neat. So let's have a look here. And we have a 799 and a 769 trinket. The eye level for dungeon heroic dungeons is 810. So you can tell my trinkets are really, really bad. I mean, I have some intellect ones that I've gotten from the world quests, so you can see kind of like the stat increase that I'd get if I had agility versions. Unfortunately, trinkets don't change. Like if I switch to Windwalker, which I am now, the stats don't change on these trinkets. So you can see like 890 to 970 haste, agility, while this has 580. So 300 to 400 agility increase from just replacing one trinket. That would be pretty damn big. But we're 869 level, even with these two equipped, so we're not too bad geared. We got a good couple of pieces from that, thanks to the group being cool guys. So that was a look at Windwalker Monk, and let's take a look at our damage breakdown. We also, my talent's bugged. So if my Chi Orbit was actually doing damage, I would have been a lot higher. That's a lot of damage we miss out on. It's like my 3rd or 4th most damaging ability. So the fact that that's not doing any damage is a big issue. So we would have actually been higher than this. But Fist of Fury is our top damage. Strike the Windlord is obviously our artifact weapon. Blackout Kick, Touch of Death, Rising Sun Kick, Russian Jade Wind, Crosswinds is our like artifact trait that buffs Fist of Fury. So Fist of Fury is basically doing 27% of my damage. Melee, Tiger Palm, Chi Burst, Touch of Karma, Dot, and Rain of Arrows. I guess that's the Sentinel doing the Rain of Arrows. So yeah, it's 1.7% from the enchant. It's quite nice. So there you have it. That was a look at Windwalker Monk. Now these videos aren't quite the same as the way Metro does it. I'm a bit more ranty and I do it live. But hopefully you enjoyed it either way. And I'll be continuing making guide stuff as well very, very soon. I'm a little bit busy at the moment. But I definitely want to get, especially in July, you're going to see a lot of guides on Legion. Pets, toys, all that kind of jazz. So look out for those. And yeah. Keep watching One Legion. We just broke 1,000 subscribers, so we really, really do appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you all for hanging out and subscribing to the channel. And we'll catch you all soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.